Welcome to Gallagher's Grub. It is Labor Day weekend, and that marks the unofficial last weekend of summer here in the U.S. You can hear the kids down in the water playing. They're getting ready to go back to school after this weekend, and we're enjoying our last hurrah as well as adults. Today, I'm going to be making a skirt steak, a really long skirt steak, and we're going to make a chimichurri sauce to go with it. It's going to be Argentinian and delicious, and we're going to fire that up here on the Kamado Joe, so stick around. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make a marinade for the steaks, and that starts with a few cloves of garlic. You can use however many cloves as you want. I'm using 4, and I'm using the side of my knife and just applying some pressure and crushing these cloves. And this is going to release the oils and the aroma of the garlic. And then we're going to put this right into a measuring cup. Into that, I'm going to add a nice big sprig of rosemary. And I twist and crumple it up a little bit to release the oils of the rosemary leaves. Next, I'm going to add in some olive oil. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of eyeballing these ingredients. This is not baking. You don't have to be super precise, but I'd say maybe like a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Next, we're going to add in about a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. And since this is an acid, it's going to help tenderize the tough cut of meat. Next, we're going to come in with about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And this has high sodium content. This is our salt. And then we're going to add my favorite marinade for beef, and that is Worcestershire sauce. We're going to go ahead and add in a few tablespoons to a 1/4 cup of Worcestershire. Again, all the quantities in this marinade are to your taste. Then we'll stir this around a little bit, give it a taste, and yeah, it needs a little more Worcestershire sauce. Go figure. So in the intro, I said I'd be cooking a long skirt steak. I wasn't kidding. This is twice the length of my cutting board. And you can see that the grain of the steak goes in this direction. And we're going to be cutting it in this direction against the grain. So what I want to do is I want to cut this into sections that make it easier to carve once it comes off the grill. So if we look at this and cut it here, you can see that each one of these is going to be about the same length as the blade of my knife. So I should be able to carve these pieces very easily when they come off the grill. Now I'm going to place these into a Pyrex dish. Pour the marinade on top of the skirt steak. And then flip these steaks around. Make sure they're getting covered all over with that marinade. Place a lid on the dish and then put it into the refrigerator for anywhere between 2 to 4 hours. Next thing we're going to do is make our chimichurri sauce, and that begins with some flat leaf parsley. Now, a truly authentic chimichurri sauce is going to have cilantro and oregano as well, but today I'm just using parsley and it's going to be great. Just use your knife to chop off the leaves. And if you get some stems in there, just remove those by hand. And then chop the parsley up until it's nice and fine. Put the parsley into a mixing bowl or a measuring cup. Add in some minced garlic, and this is a perfect time to use a garlic press if you have one. And for this recipe, I'm going to use 3 cloves of finely minced garlic. To that, I'm going to add a few tablespoons of olive oil, a couple of tablespoons of red wine vinegar, a few dashes of red pepper flakes, a good pinch of kosher salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. And then stir these together. And this here is looking a little bit thick to me, so I'm going to go ahead and add a splash of water. Then I'm going to stir it around really well give it a little taste, and then cover it with plastic wrap and let this sit while the steak marinates in the refrigerator and all these fresh flavors are going to come together. Alright, let's fire up the Kamado Joe. I've got some hardwood lump charcoal in there and my Grill Blazer grill gun blowtorch. And once our fire gets burning, I'm going to set the grates on the middle setting. Man, this fire is really hot right now. And close the lid and let these grates heat up. You can see the bottom vent is wide open. I've got the top vent wide open as well. And we're just going to let this come up to temperature for a few minutes. Now these grates are piping hot and I'm going to give them a scrape down. Make sure they're nice and clean from the last cook. No food residue on there. Alright, a few minutes later and we are rip-roaring hot right now. Here is the steak that I pulled out of the refrigerator. It's been marinating for about 4 hours now. I'm going to put the thickest piece on first. Throw a couple pieces of rosemary into the fire. You can see the oil on the rosemary is catching fire. A few minutes later, not many minutes, maybe like 1 or 2 minutes later, throw on another piece. And the rest of the steak. And these skirt steaks, they're really cool to cook. They cook really quickly. They're thin, so the marinade can get deep into the meat. And all you really need is a screaming hot fire and a quick sear, and these are done. And it was at this point Andy Dufresne realized his iPhone had overheated and he was getting no footage of the steaks coming off the grill. Okay, so here is the grilled skirt steak. It's looking mighty fine to me. I'm going to slice into it right here. And we're going to slice, we cut these in these smaller sections so that they slice nice and easily across the grain. You can see how delicious this looks. Do one more slice here. Nice and thin. Add some of this chimichurri sauce to it. Give this a taste. Wow, that is really tasty. I love these, I love skirt steaks and flank steaks. They're considered lesser cuts of beef compared to a ribeye or a New York strip. I tell you though, this is so good. It's fantastic. And this chimichurri sauce, well, it's not authentic, but it's still, this is good. I just love the fresh parsley and garlic. Wow. This is so good. Give this a try. Grab yourself a skirt steak. They're long. Cut them up into manageable pieces. Make the chimichurri sauce. It's really fresh and delicious. And yeah, you're going to love this recipe. Give it a try. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you know when new videos come out. And yeah, keep on grilling. And this wouldn't be YouTube if I didn't get a nice shot for the thumbnail.